Blog Talk Radio.
Paranormal Review Radio.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Friday night on Paranormal Review Radio with me, Anthony Agati, and my lovely co-host, Lucy Liebfried.
Hello, everybody. Hi, Anthony. Are you ready for another great show tonight? I know I am.
I think they are ready, Lucy. Why don't you share some info with our listeners?
Okay, I'd be happy to. We have a great show tonight, but first, let's share how you can participate in tonight's show. As always, our phone lines are open, so give us a call. The number to call in is 661-244-9831. And if we don't get to you right away, please stay on the line, and we will get to you as soon as we can. Also, our chat room is open. Feel free to interact with us or make new friends. And lastly, our Facebook page, Paranormal Review Radio, has some great follow-up information and daily paranormal news and fun insights. So come on by and like our page. Anthony, let's start this show.
Well, before we start the show, I want to let everybody know that we originally planned to have Carmen Reed on tonight. Carmen was she's a real-life mother that the movie The Haunting in Connecticut was based on. Well, we had reached out to her last month, and she was excited to come on and asked us to remind her as we got closer to the date. She gave us her cell phone to text her a message, and we did that on Wednesday. But even before that, we reached out to her by email and also on Facebook on Sunday. So after not hearing back from her online or from the text message, Lucy and I decided to change the program late last night and go a full show with our good friend, Rick Schuster. Rick was originally planned to come on after Carmen to talk about the spirits that were haunting her back then and also sort of have him explain what it all meant and what could be causing it. But now we get to have the entire show with Rick, and I think you will be even more excited about that. Rick Schuster refers to himself as a healer and energy transformer. Between 1998 and 2000, Rick began a complete transformation with his DNA life force energy, which I'm going to let Rick explain about that. It is completely mind-boggling what information Rick has on the universe and its energy and awakenings for us all. Not only has Rick tapped into the world beyond our physical earth, he has also been able to tap into the spiritual realm, or as he likes to refer them to as the in-betweeners, which again, I'm going to allow Rick to explain. So enough of my horrible introduction. Let's get Rick on the air so we can get deep into ourselves and find out some things that we may never have even thought of in regards to the paranormal. Rick, welcome officially to the show. We are so happy to have you on tonight. Thank you so much for coming on.
Well, you're welcome. You hear me loud and clear?
I hear you loud and clear.
We do.
Awesome. I believe I might be even more excited about being on the show than you are about having me on the show.
I highly doubt that very much.
Well, we are so happy that you agreed to join us, and we would love to hear about energy and everything that you've tapped into. But at first, I'd like to ask you, Rick, would you be willing to do some readings for the callers tonight?
Oh, sure. I'm sure we'll be able to fit that in.
Okay, and what's the best reading to do over the phone?
For me, readings are about where a person's at. Many people want to know, where am I going to be tomorrow? What's next week going to be like? What's next year going to be like? But for me, the struggle for today, about what tomorrow might be is representative of today. And the more balanced that we can be in connection to ourselves, and the more clarity we have in connection to ourselves in this present moment, the less the tomorrow holds a significance. And so for me, it's really about trying to identify through the readings exactly where in the energy, as I connect with them and I feel their energy, and I allow their energy to tell me where they're at. In other words, I don't interpret it. It's almost like, okay, show me what you're about. Show me what is going on here. And as I make that statement, then I begin to get images, and I start to get the energy flowing to me, and it becomes very clear for me. And I then go ahead and share based on what I am experiencing in the present moment. Because so much of it, what this world is about is promoting the tomorrow, when in fact, for me, it's the present moment that we miss the opportunity to be in and to truly enjoy and live in, because we're so focused on what's coming, we miss the opportunity to live today. So the readings are more about today and this present moment.
Excellent. You mentioned, Rick, that you can do fairy readings, I believe, in angel readings. Is that correct?
Yes, I have Doreen Virtue put out some angel cards and fairy cards, and they're very affirmative, they're very positive, they are really oriented towards the individual, and for me, they give me the clearest picture of where an individual is at and what I'm sensing in connection to them.
Okay. All right. So if anybody's interested out there in getting a reading by Rick, you can give us a call at 661-244-9831, and we'll get you on the line with Rick so that you can experience the wonders of Rick Schuster. But before we get into that, Rick, I actually wanted to tap into, and I read this in an article online. I believe you had written an article online about in-betweeners. Can you explain to the folks that are listening now what you're referring to the in-betweeners, what they are all about, and what are some misgivings to the in-betweeners that maybe folks may have about them?
Well, for me, many call them ghosts. Or earthbounds. There's a lot of different terms that have been used. I call them in-betweeners basically because they're in between this physical world life that they've lived and moving on to be able to really see and understand what is taking place in the rest of the world and the rest of the universe and the rest of all that exists. So, many have referred to it maybe as a purgatory, that in-between place where one exists, where they're not moving any place. And then really, I don't see them as stuck, but oftentimes they can be, but they're in between two different energy venues for the discovery, the realization, and the experiencing of our own true individual self. And so many of them experience sometimes horrific situations, or within the religious community, they may recognize that, when I die, I'm going to be judged, and I am not interested in being judged because I have not lived a perfect life. I probably won't make it into heaven. So what I've come to understand about them, when I've talked to them, I said, well, why are you still here? And they say, well, I don't want to go to hell. But at the same time, they figure that if they're here and nobody knows they're here and they haven't gone to heaven and they're not going to go to hell, I'm going to stay right where I'm at, right in between, so that maybe I can keep a low profile and nobody will know that I'm here, when that really isn't the case. But they then tend to get into a pattern of staying, and there is a recognition by many as an awareness that they can move on, but they're so skeptical and so uncertain about moving on just simply because they're not interested in being judged. They're not interested in being criticized for the choices they've made, to be ridiculed or in some way have to face what their life was all about, because oftentimes people aren't really that excited about what their life was all about, and then have to have a review of it is next to a nightmare. So they kind of remain stuck, and that's why I call them in-betweeners.
So it is a choice then, that they're physically making that choice to stay within that realm and not move on.
Exactly. it's been presented within many religious avenues that the choice is already going to be made for us. We go to the pearly gates, we're judged, and we're in or we're out. And that really, really, really paralyzes a lot of individuals who, when they die, and sometimes they think, I have a choice. Is this a scam? Am I being tricked? What happens if I choose this, but it doesn't work? Human beings live with a lot of skepticism. Just because they leave their physical body doesn't change the skepticism that they have. Doesn't change their approach. Doesn't change how they see things. They may see things as a little bit differently, but even more so as they're given more of an open book to make a choice. Where am I going to go? Am I going to stay here? Or am I going to move on? And they live their life in fear. Oftentimes they make their choices out of fear, and then when they leave the body, they continue the fear choices, which hold them right where they're at, stuck in their human life, stuck in the in-between realm, and they're not going anywhere.
So Rick, as a paranormal investigator, so these beings that we come in contact with, is it possible then that we can actually help them move or convince them to move on?
It is possible, but there is a lot of understanding and new awareness that is taking place for them as they exist. As the universe is evolving, as awareness and conscientious presence begins to grow stronger, and we begin to question some of the patterns of choices that have existed, some of what we've been told works when we've explored it and we've discovered it doesn't work very well. They're in a place where they are aware that they can make a choice, but in many ways in their lives they weren't always sure about choices, and then they sometimes made a wrong choice or a bad choice. And this could be devastating for them. So I'm really skeptical, and I'm not sure. And as long as I know I'm still existing right now, I'll exist right now. But the problem with that is that they're a dying energy. And this is why haunting and possessing and connecting with human beings is so powerful, because these in-betweeners will then connect with human beings, and they will feed off the energy of the life force that exists with that human body. Because in many ways, their life force wasn't strong enough to hold and support that physical life as it lived. So when they separate them from that physical body through disease or accident or old age, oftentimes their life force energy is really, really, really depleted. And so in that place of being depleted, they are afraid of moving on. They're not always very clear. When your energy is depleted, it's just like when you're very tired, very, very tired. It's like you struggle to understand. It's like I'm confused. It's like, I got to get some sleep before I'm even going to be able to understand this. So let's maybe talk about this tomorrow. Well, they're in this constant mode of being depleted, and they're attempting to connect with other human beings and deplete the energy and live off and feed off of. But the only problem is it creates a dependency and it creates a need, and it never really satisfies. It never will satisfy you, because the truest energy that satisfies begins with you and is you. The most blissful energy that you will ever experience isn't another, no matter what that form existing in the larger universe as a perceived supreme creator or as a perceived source, as a perceived anything else, because you see, your vibration, your energy, your frequency, how you resonate, all of it is finely tuned to you, very specific. There is no other like it. So you can experience a connection with another, and it's like, wow, they really have nice energy. But you'll never know what the truly bliss-filled, exciting, this is like way off the charts energy until you experience your own. And that's what we've never been told about. We've never had this explained to us. We're told that we have to look to another to feed us, to satisfy us. We've got to look to another to help us. We have become dependent on the spirit realm to give to us what they've never told us we were capable of. Because, number one, they liked us depending on them. Oh, yeah, turn to the masters, turn to the angels, turn to the spirit guides. Creates a dependency, and they're like, oh, look at all these people that are connecting with me. This is great. I'm helping out so many. And then they start to need that, and they want that. And it's a stardom almost. And it creates a false sense of self, just like accomplishments, just like achievements, just like being honored or really valued. It's a false sense of self. So the truest energy of self, that which you are, can't be achieved. And this is my statement that I use all the time, is we cannot satisfy that which is within from that which is without. In other words, outside of us, it's without the energy to satisfy. So it's outside of us. When we go outside of ourselves, we'll never satisfy that which is within. And when we truly go within, we'll know that it is not necessary to go outside of ourselves, or go within ourselves, because we are the energy that is the source for our own energy, our own body. When we go deeper and deeper and deeper into ourselves, we satisfy that desire to connect with something, and the something that we've never been told is our own self. And there's nothing more powerful for any individual than their own connection to their self. But many don't understand how to achieve it, so they try to get it from others. And this has created huge problems.
Rick, I'm going to ask you a question that I'm pretty sure most of our listeners have already maybe been saying this to themselves. How do you know all of this? How did this truth or this information come to you? How do you know it to be able to then come forward and explain it and teach it and lecture it to others? How did this come to your world, this knowledge?
By going into myself. By going deeper into myself. This is what was a number of years ago. All of a sudden, I started to hear a voice, and the voice was my own voice, but I didn't recognize it as my own voice because I'd never heard myself talk to myself. I never heard me talk to me before. It's the deeper essence of my energy of self. And at the deeper the connection, the stronger the connection, the more aware I became. I've actually gotten to a point where in everything that I'm saying right now, everything that I'm sharing in my everyday, I don't think anymore. I do not use my brain to think. Everything flows from a place of awareness, and it is only because going deeper into myself, I move beyond the thinking and the wondering and the asking of questions out of uncertainty into a place of being more aware. And the deeper I connect, the more completely I connect myself, the more aware I became. And this took a while for me. I mean, at first it's like, and I understand what many are like, well, I got this, but am I sure this is it? Well, right. My response is your first inclination, that first thought, that first awareness you have is the most accurate for you. It'll be there in a matter of 1/2 a second, 1 second, and it's like, boom, it's there. And it's like, wow, that got here too quick. Did I come up with that, or did it come from someplace else? And then we start to question, did this come from me, or maybe I didn't hear it right, or maybe I created that thought, that idea that, I must have created this for myself. Well, yeah, but not from a conscious place from the physical body, from the deeper energy of self and your connection to the universe. And as a source energy, absolutely you did. But when you're going to start listening to yourself, we question ourselves constantly, but we don't listen to our own self very well. And so when we don't, we tend to get into problems, and we tend to have struggles because we ignore what was initially there in that intuitive energy that is very natural and true to all of us, and then we start to make other choices that are more logical or practical, or we believe might be accurate, but we're not sure. So we miss the opportunity to truly make insightful choices for ourselves.
So, Rick, basically, from what I'm getting from what you're saying, the hindrance in what stops us from becoming aware, becoming more in tune with the energy, is basically ourselves. It's not anything else. It's ourselves.
because we give our power away to believe that another is wiser, has a stronger awareness, is an expert, has done this before, they've explored it, all of these things. I mean, it's representative in religion. It's like many will say, well, I'm going to turn to God, I'm going to ask God for my answers. And then you get an answer, but, well, I don't know if that came from God. Well, you don't know. You're absolutely right. So the assumptions are oftentimes that we can only gain the greatest clarity for ourselves in our life from another who can see us. But they see us and they experience us, and how they perceive and observe us is through their own filters. And their filters are based on their energy, and what their filters are based on affects how they see and what they see and their level of awareness. So we're asking someone that is maybe not very clear, but may sound very wise, not very insightful, but can present something that appears to be insightful, and we're all over it as human beings, when in fact I keep telling everybody that I talk to is trust yourself, trust yourself, trust yourself. But we're not told to trust ourselves, we're told to trust somebody else. That's why we've got experts. I don't buy it, because I don't know that they're experts. They only profess to be, and others lift them up to be, but it doesn't mean they are.
Okay. So.
Wow.
So, as far as looking to someone else for guidance and for, how do you tap into another's energy then? Have you've gotten to a point where you
I don't
are
tap into another's
yourself.
energy. I don't tap into their energy at all. I invite their energy to flow to me to show me what it is about. And when it shows me, you see, energy, all the energy out there is waiting to reveal its secrets. But you see, we aren't listening. We're asking lots of questions, but we're not always asking the questions that bring the answers. And my premise is that for some time now, that everybody has answers. Everybody's got answers. I mean, you got answers from everybody, from the political, the religious, the business community, the mothers and fathers, your peer group, all of this. They've got all of these answers. But what questions are asking? Are they asking the right questions that give them a clarity and bring an insight and awareness that allows them to truly step beyond what they're looking at around them to become more clear within their self? Because the questions they're asking of others are representative of what this type of questions this world asks. But when we truly step into ourselves and start to go deeper into ourselves, we begin to realize that the questions we've been asking aren't the ones that bring us clarity, awareness, insight, and understanding. They oftentimes only bring us general information because we're not specific enough. We're more general. We are oftentimes in the questions, it's like we want an immediate response. And I have told many that I've worked with, is when you ask the question, don't look for the answer to come to you immediately, because if it can come to you in a moment yet to show up, in a future moment, and it aligns with something that is taking place that you're endeavoring to do or experience with someone else, and then all of a sudden you ask this question, and this answer comes through just like, whoa, now I get it, because it's in relationship to something that is associated with our life and our living every day, and the clarity then that we get in and through that answer is more profound because it's associated with us and not just an answer that somehow just stops. So it's like, okay, well, I got an answer, but what does it mean? What does it mean? And so we can ask the additional question, well, what is the value of this then, this answer that I've received? We don't ask follow-up questions. We don't change how we ask the same question. The same thing can be made in the statement, I am. The connotation of stating these two words holds different energy every time I stated it. It held something different. Well, the questions we ask can hold the same thing. If we're uncertain about them, they'll carry that energy. If we're certain about them, they'll carry that energy. It's the energy with the words that can very well make the difference. I oftentimes encourage people to make statements in order to release energy, but oftentimes it's like, okay, let me have the exact statement. I'm going to write it down so I can say it just as you said it. And it's like, okay, fine. I start out that way, but when it really comes down to it, in fact, I had a friend yesterday. It's like, well, would you write this down that you just said and send it to me in an email? And I said, no. I said, because when you're coming from your head and in your thoughts, then you're oftentimes overthinking it. I said, this is about making a statement from the core of who you are, from the heart of who you are, with a passion and a determination, that with an energy behind it that says, this is where I'm at. I said, the words will make less of a difference if the energy behind it and the passion within it is expressed through what you're trying to say, because it's more of a total body energy statement instead of a mind statement. Does that make sense?
Perfect sense.
Yeah, it does. So basically, we need to depend on our feelings, what we feel inside of us. Is that correct?
You're going to have to expand on that a little bit more. I'm not really following you exactly.
Okay, like when I'm doing readings, a lot of what you're saying is really falling into place for me. When I do tarot card readings for people, I don't particularly depend on the cards so much anymore. It's more like I'm looking at them and I'm becoming open, and it's like this story just pops into my head. Now, that story that's popping in is obviously someone else's energy that I'm feeling. But in order to feel that, I have to be aware of my own energy that can feel it. Correct?
Absolutely.
Am I following that right?
Your filter can alter what you're experiencing, especially if you're also afraid that what you're going to share may not work with them. Then all of a sudden you carry this energy of concern, and you're getting in the way. Get out of the way. Be in a place of absolute neutrality. It doesn't make any difference. You're not interpreting the energy. It's telling you what it is. And when you get out of the way and you let the energy flow, it will connect with the cards. And when it connects with the cards, it will flow both with the cards and through you. And your clarity and insight and connectedness will be much stronger. But it's like you become a non-important aspect of what you're experiencing, because all you are is the vehicle and the funnel through which this energy flows, and it's clear because you're not in the way, your emotions are not in the way, your feelings are not in the way, your concerns, your fears, the tiredness, all that you're experiencing physical. When it's out of the way, the clarity flows, and you don't have to worry about interpreting, because it just shows you very blatantly this is where it's at.
That's fascinating. That's absolutely fascinating.
So, Rick, I have a question. I have sort of I wanted to express something and then lead into a question. We were briefly before the show, I had mentioned to you that, I physically have been feeling drained lately. And I think a lot of people that I know have been feeling that same way, just very tired, lethargic, just feeling completely drained, for lack of a better word, over the last few weeks. And I've been hearing of a shift, and I've been hearing of things that are going on in the universe, just recently even Venus coming through. Is it just the universe and the energies of the universe itself, or and forgive me for not expressing this correctly, but is it maybe the possibility of life here on Earth changing the way that it is, like you were saying before, receiving or expressing or communicating the energies itself? I've noticed in the last 20, 30 years that technology has advanced, tenfold, and everybody nowadays basically has their heads down on their BlackBerries or iPhones and texting away or on Facebook, and are not within the world and not within themselves at that moment in time. Is it a combination of the universe and what we're doing wrong here that's causing this shift and causing the energies and to be drained and all of that? Or is it basically the universe itself adjusting to what we're doing here on Earth, if that makes any sense at all?
It does make sense, but we're not doing anything wrong. Okay, first of all, there's no right or wrong. And so as we begin to evolve and as there's a shifting, we become more aware. And so then we make different choices and we begin to change the patterns of the old. The universe is shifting, and the universal patterns of the old are also shifting. And they are being shifted, and there is old energy that is leaving. It is being dissolved. It is leaving by choice. And so associated with this old energy, very, very old, and I can't even begin to explain this, well beyond the Earth ever existing, the energy that is so old is a part of what we've been experiencing also, because it's been an unseen force, and it kind of roots in us, and it holds a connection to us, but we have no idea that it exists. Human beings as they exist right now are just totally oblivious. I mean, it's like they're walking around, and it's like, well, we're the only ones here. If they could truly be observant of all the energy that exists and all the ways that it flows through and coalesces and exists around, as well as the multiple levels of consciousness, there are, I'm going to put this out there because this is what I've become aware of, okay? There are 43 universes, of which this universe we're in is one of them. But we can't tell that there's anything else out there. And the reason is because each one vibrates on a level and in an energy that is not observable from this universe. So the assumption is this is the only one. Well, in many ways, the same thing exists for a lot of human beings. We believe we're the only ones because we're the only ones we can see. Just because 8, 6, 7 billion people believe something is doesn't mean it is. It only means that they believe it is because what exists beyond what they can see and be aware of isn't visible to them. So the energy that's being shifted in the larger universe is also being shifted here on Earth, because it's not just a human shift. It's, there's the new Earth and there's the new heaven, and the old Earth and the old heaven have to move away, and they have to dissolve, and they have to give way to that which is the change from the old into the new. But sometimes this change is very difficult. It's not like, okay, boop, boop, okay, it's all done. It's very physical. It's very energetically challenging. It's very, it's a struggle, because we believe that what we're experiencing is oftentimes a chemical reaction because we can measure it that way. Why are our physical bodies reacting the way that they are? Because a shift is taking place. So what I would say to you, and I would say to others, is most of the time when we feel this uncomfortableness and this tiredness, we just say, well, I'm tired today, so I'm going to have to be tired. It's like, why? Okay? Start to make the statement. I am releasing the energy of tiredness and all associated energy of the old that is connected to my body and to my energy, and I'm going to release it. I'm going to release it into the new universe, because we have an old universe and the shift is taking place for a new universe. So I'm going to release it from my energy, I'm going to release it from my body, and I'm going to be free of it. And I'm going to make another statement in another hour, and then I'm going to make another statement in another hour. And I'm going to keep making these statements. It's like taking a vitamin. If you have a desire to be healthy, then take a vitamin, or eat food, or run and exercise. But if you desire to be free of the heaviness of the energy, people believe, well, I got to go to bed, and I'm not sleeping very well because I can't relax. And a lot of it has to do with the energy that we're carrying is so heavy and it's disruptive for us, but it never allows our mind to quiet down. So we end up going ahead and try to beat it to death by taking sleeping pills or something else like that. And then the next morning it's like, we're trying to somehow control that which is controlling us. Well, why not just make a statement to release it? I release the energy of heaviness. I release it from my mind. I release it from my head. I release it from my body. I release it from my muscles. I release it from my bones. I release it from my blood, from all aspects of my physical body and my energy. I release it in this present moment now. Leave. And you'd be surprised how powerful the voice is when you state it out loud according to what you're choosing. It's just that we've never been told we can choose this.
Wow. Well, you know what, Rick? We do have a few callers online that would like to speak with you. Would you mind doing a couple readings right now?
Oh, I would love it.
Oh, excellent. Okay, we have a caller, area code 763. They've been on hold for going on 34 minutes now. So, hello, area code 763. Hi, who is this?
Lisa?
Hi, Lisa. You're on the air with Anthony, Lucy, and Rick.
Hi, Rick. It's Lisa.
Hi, Lisa.
How you doing?
I'm fine.
Good.
Looking for a reading?
Well, you told me you were going to be on air, so yeah. If you've got something to say, then
okay. I'm going to pick the angel cards. Okay. I'm feeling your energy already. I'm connecting with you. I have 4 cards.
Okay.
1, 2, 3. There's 4. All right. Now, talk to me, cards. Alicia's energy is in you, connecting to you. Tell me what number you are. Card number 1, where are you? 1's here. 2, 2's here. 3, 3's here. 4, 4's here. See, I just throw it out there. And I ask the cards, what is the order in connection to Alicia? And it shows up 1, 2, 3, 4. They tell me how to arrange them. It's just that simple. It's just a matter of being in tune with the energy. First one is children. That is the first card. Children. What is this about? Okay. You're working with and connected to a lot of people that are very young on this planet, young in this universe, and they're like children. And your insight and clarity as you begin to evolve can be very important for them. Just like a child, exert patience with them and embrace them in a very encouraging but accepting way, because the more accepting you are and stepping back and let them make the choices and then step forward to be encouraging and talk to them, the more that they'll grow. And then when they begin to see that you have a balance in your life, then they'll begin to ask questions of you, and then you can share. So I see very much that you have a lot of individuals that are quite young. Now, the next card is answered prayer. In many ways, I feel like many of these individuals are actually looking for answers. And for me, an answered prayer is a question that they have in their heart, a question that they have in their mind. And I also feel that for the children, that's true, but I also experience a connection to you that there is also curiosity of what lies ahead for you, and that you're okay with what's going on right now, but a change would be okay. And the next card is body care, and I feel, sense, and very strong that you're taking care of yourself and you are paying attention to your own health, which brings up the next card, that the divine timing of that which is going to take place for you as new opportunities present themselves will be associated with your ability to connect with others who are younger, to help them see and be more clear and aware. And it is because you've been taking care of your energy self and your physical body self that these opportunities with these individuals will start to show up in a timing that is reflective of you and also them. There's your reading.
Lisa, is that good for you?
Yes. Yes, I think so.
Excellent.
Yes.
Excellent.
Does that resonate with you, Alicia?
Yeah, it does. I mean, I realize, well, I've realized for many years that there's others that are not as aware as I am or as open as I am, and they're stuck in old beliefs and, I definitely try to.
Right, and as the universe continues to shift and awareness becomes more complete and we begin to open up, these doors and opportunities will open up to you, and they will just even show up even with more openness to desire to understand more that's taking place, and you'll really be in a place to encourage them in your own way, which is important. It's not in another's way, but in ways that you know work for you, and in connection to them, then you'll feel very comfortable with that.
One thing I do have a problem with, and because I've read Conversations with God and about how there's no right or wrongs, I do have a problem with that a little bit. I do believe there are wrongs. I mean, child molesting,
Yes.
I mean, there's some atrocious that go on. I have a hard time believing that there are no wrongs.
But let us take a look at what I just got done saying earlier. You have in-betweeners. You have possession that's taking place. You're influenced by the energy of others. How do you know that the choice that they hypothetically made in the place of judgment in reference to the act, you're judging the act, and because you're judging the act, you're judging the person associated with the act. Now, the person associated with the act may not have control of their life. They may not be in possession of their body. They may not be in possession of their mind and their consciousness. They may be controlled and influenced by unseen forces that they are not even aware are existing, that are very devilish and like making trouble and don't care about others, because we run into it all the time. The universe has been full of that. It's not all cotton candy out there. There's a lot that's been taking place, but you see, the unseen realm can hide because we as human beings can't see it. So what are we going to do? Let's prosecute the person without fully understanding what took place for them. And this is part of what the problem is I have with right and wrong and good and bad and judging an act or judging a person, because you haven't the slightest idea. If you don't know exactly all that has taken place to bring that person to that point, then you're judging something based only on what you're seeing, and how can you do that?
Wow. Okay. Lisa, thank you so much for calling.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, let's go to our next caller, and it is area code 317. Hello, 317. You're on the air with Anthony, Lucy, and Rick. Who is this?
Hello there. My name is Norma Rittersbach, and I've known Rick for many years. And hi, Rick.
Hi, Norma. Hey, I tell you what, Norma.
Yes.
I'd be more than happy to give you one. Can I call and connect with you and let somebody else that I haven't connected with before get in here?
Yes, indeed. I'll look forward to it. All right, bye-bye.
Thank you for listening.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Norma. Okay, Rick, you want to take one more?
Yeah, sure. Go over, look at all the numbers and pick one that stands out for you.
One that stands out for me. I am going to go to area code 507.
No. That's Minnesota again.
Okay.
Look at another part of the country.
Okay, let's go to area code 612.
No, that's Minnesota too.
We
got any others out there?
Yeah, we have area code. We got area code 360.
360 works.
Okay. Hello, area code 360. Who is this?
Hi.
You're on. Hi.
Hi, my name is Sage.
Hi, Sage.
Hi, Sage.
I knew you were going to pick me. That was the weirdest thing ever. I'm like, free to go. So, well, basically,
I was
have
feeling your energy.
Well, basically, I have a question, and I'd love to have a reading. Could I ask my question first, or?
Sure.
Sure.
I have, I don't even know how to say it really, but all of my life, but the last 5 years, I get a lot of spirit contact with me, a lot.
Okay.
They follow me, they bother me, it sounds crazy if I even really go on and on about it, because it's kind of like out of a horror book, but I don't know what they want. I don't know what to do. It scares
first
me.
of all, the in-betweeners, as they are, will oftentimes be sensitive to those that are aware of them just simply because they get a reaction. Okay?
Right.
And then they're also lost. So it's like, well, maybe you can help me, or sometimes it's just an acknowledgement, because lots of times in-betweeners don't get along very well with each other. They will avoid each other. They'll keep their distance from each other. You don't see them sitting together laughing, because they're really not joyous and they're not happy at all. So oftentimes they're following because there's something in your energy that kind of invites them. Do they get close to you, or do they keep a distance from you?
Lately they've been, they get closer. Oh, for instance, I live out in the country in Washington, and there's woods on my property. And I noticed there was a light, like a lantern type, off in the distance in the woods one night. And I just turned around and walked back in the house and pretended it wasn't there. And the very next night, I walked out, and it was about 10 feet away from me. And the colors change, the lights change. But they don't do anything. They just hover, and it's as if they're just staring at me, watching me. And
what's your reaction?
The one night, I was asleep on the couch, and it pounded on the window. And I woke up in a fright. Of course, nothing was there. I opened the back door and walked out, and the light was there again. So I started talking to it, and I said, what can I do for you? Are you looking for my help? And I started praying, saying, look for the light, go to God, and, anything that I could do to try to help. And it started as if walking away from me, and it just disappeared.
Okay.
But I own a business also, and I get it there, but I also get things that aren't so great there, flying across my, I own a spa salon, and it's hard to explain to clients why things are flying across the salon. And it's just insane. People will be driving behind me, and they'll call me on my cell phone and say, who's in the car with you? There's no one in the car with me. So, and much more than that, believe me, but that's just a little bit. So I wasn't sure what, am I considered a sensitive? Do I just happen to be, I don't know.
Well,
do I have any ability? I don't know.
First of all, let me share with you, I have a friend who also works in a spa, and they were seeing these orbs. They had put a camera, a motion detector, in the lunchroom. And so when nobody was there at night, this motion detector would come on, and then they'd see these lights, these orbs, shoot across the room, and then it would stay on. And so I, having worked with this for some time now, one time there was an altercation that was taking place, and this woman came in for something in the spa, and she was just very angry. She wasn't getting what she wanted to, and the camera was on her at the front desk, and when they played it back, her eyes were black.
Oh, my gosh.
Now, she was possessed, and so they could feel the energy. Some of the people that worked there, I'm aware of it, and they could feel the energy, so they were very sensitive to it. And it was like they called me and said, "Rick, can you do something about it?" Well, what I do, first of all, let me explain something real quick, is I embody and I choose to make the statement that I am the energy of unconditional acceptance. If I don't judge another, if I don't criticize them in a way that says you're right or you're wrong, you're good or you're bad, anything like that, if I'm just accepting of their choices and their energy as a whole, then I'm not seeing light and dark as one being good and the other one being bad. What I'm experiencing is that I've got light that is attempting to control the dark so that nothing in the dark is dark anymore, but then the dark is attempting to control the light, so nothing in the light is light anymore. And for those in the dark, they like the dark, and for those in the light, they like the light. So can we honestly say that the light is less controlling than the dark, if it is in fact trying to put out the dark, or that the dark is trying to put out the light? So we're in this place where this battle is going on between right and wrong, good and bad, and these physical energies that are these in-betweeners are kind of caught in a push and a pull, because there's those that are dark and there are those that are light. Those that are more in the light will oftentimes be drawn to those who are more in the light, but then also those in the dark will be drawn to because they're also looking for help. So I went into the spa, and they said, "Would you come in because we've got these orbs going on around here?" And I said, "Yeah." I went in that night, and through the whole place and all the levels of connection I connected with, there were 235 that I removed. Now, I removed them by simply reaching out, connecting with them, and say, "I receive you and I accept you." And as I make that statement, they flow through my energy and through my physical body, and they release. Now, I'm not aware of any other human being that's able to go ahead and transition this energy, because when it gets into the body, it sticks with the body. It stays connected to, and then they get possessed. And many people have said, "Oh, don't invite them in. Don't invite them in." But I can, because when they begin to come into my energy and connect to my body, they feel an unconditional acceptance. And all of a sudden, all their fears begin to disappear. All their concerns begin to be alleviated. And it's like, and then I hear, "I'm ready to move on." And then they just choose to leave, because I'm not in a place to judge them. And so many in the in-between, as well as this physical world, are in a place to be judged. And they don't like being judged. So when they don't feel that from me, I'm able to transition that energy. So I transitioned like 235 that night, and clearing the place out, I told them the pattern is there, and you're going to get some more, because the pattern has been there. Now, in a massage parlor, spa, where you have massage and spa and makeup and nails and all of this, you're working with the energy of people. And virtually every human being on this earth is possessed by some energy, and sometimes it's connected to in-betweeners. And when they follow people into these spas, the energy oftentimes of the people who are doing the massage and the energy in those places are much lighter, and it's like, "I'm staying here, I'm good, so I'm going to stick around here." And so then what you get them is they end up sticking around, and you get a whole business full of them. Now, I'm going to connect with your business right now, the business of Sage, and I ask, how many in-betweeners are there in this moment, and invite the awareness to show to me. 63.
I feel the energy when it, I can feel the shift when I walk in, and I can feel it when they leave. I don't see it often. Sometimes I can see a person, an actual physical person, but when I feel that shift or the heaviness, what I do is I cleanse with sage, and I do the prayer, deliverance prayer. But that's as far as, I'm not saying I'm anybody special. I'm not. I'm not a medium or I'm just trying to keep the peace and and a happy happy energy flow within my business, also my home. But I don't understand why, what is it about me if I'm not a sensitive or a medium? Why are they coming to me? Why wouldn't they be attracted to someone that actually could help them?
Well, would you like me to connect with your energy in this moment? You asked the question. Why are they drawn to me? Can I connect with your energy and let your energy tell me why they're drawn to you?
Yes.
All right. I connect with Sage in this moment. But your energy will show me why those who are in-betweeners are drawn to you. Okay, the first energy that shows up for me is compassion. It's though you're a compassionate person, that you care about others, and that you don't like the plight that many are experiencing, and you have a compassion for them. Is this true or not?
Very.
Okay. What else is in connection to your energy then, Sage? I allow that to show me. You're not very big on judging.
No.
You tend to step back and you let it play out. You're interested
Yes.
in being in the middle and assuming that there's got to be something more to what was taking place than just the act. And so, like I was saying earlier, of judging, you oftentimes will say, give the benefit of the doubt. So you're very accepting and non-judgmental. That's an inviting energy also. Is that true?
Yes, very.
Okay. Energy Sage. Is there anything more? Okay. The other thing I'm experiencing is that when you have been moved to, you help others. You'll go out of your way to help someone who really could use the help because you recognize that you have many wonderful gifts, and you are in many ways very content. There's some things you would like to see change, but for the most part, you're satisfied with the direction your life has gone and what you're being able to experience in that. And so when there's someone that's really in a tough spot and you experience this compassion, you will reach out to help them in some way if you can. Is this true?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. See, and I didn't step into your energy. This is, what Lucy was asking about earlier. I just let I invite your energy, Sage energy, show me what you're about. Is there any more? Are there any more very specific energies associated with Sage? Okay, I'm feeling a fourth one. In this moment, show me what the fourth one is. You believe that you can make a difference.
Yes.
You like making a difference. In fact, even in your spa, when people come in and they can leave and feel better, when they feel as though they've released, when they feel rejuvenated, there's a excitement that you experience, and it's like you like people to be more light and feel better about themselves, and this is a very satisfying a part of who you are. Is this true?
Very.
Okay. So this is where I'm at. This energy is a very compelling and very inviting energy. If I can sense it as I reach out and let it show me, do you suppose it's showing others the same thing?
Right. Exactly.
And so they're out of that I can help them. Well, they're out of their physical body, so they're going to be more in tune with energy because that's really how they're experiencing themselves right now. They're experiencing themselves in energy in ways that we in the human body are out of touch with energy. When you're separated from your physical body, you're more in tune with it, and that's why they would be more drawn to you. Now, is there something that you can do about it? Yes. I tell you what I would suggest is see if, Lucy, is there some way that you can give her my phone number that you could call me, Sage, and I'll help.
I would love
this
to.
out, please?
I would love to.
I'll reach out to your
Excellent.
spa.
Yes, I will.
I'll
Sage.
reach out to your spa. I'll reach out and connect, and I'll draw those energies to me, and I'll help move them away. And I'll invite new energy to flow through your spa. The thing with the saging is it's a temporary, because after you sage, there's some that it doesn't affect, and there's others that'll leave, and they'll come back when it's done. And
I've had that happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
And as far as the prayers go, so anyway, we'll connect, and here in the next couple of days in that, and I'll help you out with some of the in-betweener energy. Okay?
Great. Thank you so much. Yes.
Sage, if you can send us a message through our Paranormal Review Facebook page, and we'll get you connected with Rick.
All right.
Okay?
Thank you again.
Thank you for
calling.
calling.
Bye-bye.
Okay, Rick, we have one last caller. It probably will be for a reading, but I'm not sure yet. Hello, you are on the air. This is area code 570. You're on the air with Anthony, Lucy, and Rick Schuster. What's your name?
Hi, guys. It's Nina. How are you?
Hi, Nina. How are you?
Good.
Yeah.
I'm doing great tonight.
Welcome
Did
to
you
the show.
want to get a reading from Rick?
Yeah, I'd love to. Sure.
Are you enjoying the show?
Yes, I am, Rick. Actually, I am. Thank you.
Oh, super. Okay, first card that show up for me, the strength of the cards is in the fairy cards for you. So I'm going to invite your energy to flow through the fairy cards, and I've already become aware I've got 5 of them that I'm going to pull. Okay. There's the first, there's the second, there's the third. They go through I just look across the cards, and the one that I'm going to pull out just stands out for me. So there we go. I got 5 of them. And even as somebody's listening and paying attention as I'm talking about this, as I'm doing it, just, even if you have some cards and you invite the energy to flow through the cards and practice and play with it, it's like, you'll never learn, you'll never understand what the potential is for you to really connect until you start to believe that it is possible. And you don't have to be right about anything. All you have to do is have fun with it. And then as you do have fun with it, you'll begin to realize, wow, I was right on with that. So anyway, number 1, show me where you're at. There's 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, and 5. All right. Here we go. First card is making new friends. Okay. In reference to me and making new friends, what does this mean? Show me in the energy. What kind of shows up is an energy that you would like more new friends. It's almost like there's a emptiness in friendships right now. It doesn't mean you don't have friends, but it's like you don't have really meaningful friends. And the energy to really make some new friends that really stand out in a very strong and powerful way, that really allow and invite you to be you, to not have to hide you or try it yourself or try to fit into what another is expecting of you, that just allows you to be free-flowing, and that you'd really be open to making some new friends that are in this type, bring this type of energy. The next card is sexuality. I feel a comfort. There's a comfort with your sexuality. I'm trying to look back and feel the energy between the making new friends and the sexuality, but I'm not necessarily feeling an energy connection between the 2 cards in this moment. What is it, Nina? Just that you're very comfortable. You're comfortable with yourself. You're comfortable being a female. You are. It's like what I'm feeling is a very nice energy, and it's a very beautiful energy. It's a very inviting energy, and sometimes you're concerned about how you might come across. It's almost like there's an uncertainty, I feel, that you are comfortable with yourself, but you're not always aware of how maybe somebody else might be with you. That's what I'm feeling in the energy. Higher consciousness is the next. Boy, these are really some interesting cards, just simply because there doesn't seem to be a clear connection between them. But what happens sometimes is then I'll get to the end and then it all falls together. So we'll see what happens here. Higher consciousness. Boy, you are in a place where you're starting to open up more. You're becoming more in tune with yourself. And this card goes back to your sexuality. And it's like as you become more consciously connected, more consciously aware, you become more comfortable with your sexuality, which allows you to become more open for new friends, opening your life. So it's like in your evolution of self, as you come into this new place of connectedness to yourself, a higher conscious vibration, the sexuality that may have caused some problems in the past isn't causing the same problem. It's like you're evolving out of that, and the comfort to make new friends is going to become stronger. Financial flow. Oh. This is really strange. This is like never happens. But right now, Mina, I'm just feeling a lot of confusion with you. And I believe that's why I'm getting these cards that just don't seem to really match each other, is because it's like you're confused. Oh, God. I don't think I've ever given a reading for anybody like this.
I'm sure you've never met anyone like me before, no. This is really quite strange, and it's kind of befuddling because never having really run into it before, at the same time I'm trying to figure out and be in the connection to your energy to allow me to see what's taking place here. But I'm feeling like you have confusion in your life. It's like you've been lost, and you would like new friends, more comfortable sexuality, a higher consciousness, a better financial flow. And, okay, I just turned over the last card, and the last card is letting go. This would connect with all the others. This tells me that you are trying so hard to accomplish all the other ones, and you're maybe praying so hard, or you're wishing, or you're trying so hard that you're getting in the way of all of it. Does that make any sense to you? I have to kind of really ponder on this.
Because it's almost like all of these things, and it may not be representative of what these cards are turned over, but what I'm saying is letting go and allowing the flow to come to us and through us and to connect with us, that we can flow with it. It changes how we look at finances and the way they flow. It changes our consciousness and how we look at things and how we're connected to ourselves. It changes in connection to our energy, our sexual energy, and it even changes in reference to friends. But the last card is letting go, and it's like somehow you're holding on to something or someone, and you're blocking all these other things from really truly being in a free flow and connection to you. And they can, if you can just let go and go with the flow and let these things come to you and not try as hard. Does that make any sense to you or not?
At this moment, not really. But like I said, I would have to kind of
meditate on it and kind of see in what way and why these cards came through. Because I'm sure there's a reason why. I just need to find out.
It's just the strongest card at the last card. This is the strongest card is the letting go. Somehow you're holding on either mentally or from the heart, dependent on another something, or others are dependent on you. It's just like the last card, the letting go, is the strong card here. So anyway, wow. I don't know about that one. I'm not usually stumped. I'm going to tell you, Mina, you stumped me. But at the same time,
don't take it personally. Nobody can usually read me, so don't take it personally. But like I said, what you have said, I cannot dismiss because I feel that they came through for a reason. So although they may not resonate to me now, I need to meditate on them to see what the message is there for me.
Okay.
So I will definitely let you know.
All right. That sounds good. Yeah, I'm on Facebook, so send me something. I will.
I'll get your contact from Lucy or Anthony.
Okay.
Nina, hold on for 1 second. Rick, I just have a question. Rick, could it be that the energies that you're receiving from Nina and doing these readings, could you mistakenly be getting energy of the spirits that may be around Nina?
Is that what you're picking up on?
Sort of. I don't know why, but it did come to me when you were reading it. That could there be that possibility that there may be spirit energy around her, and therefore the confusion of all the different cards, you may be picking up on 3 or 4 different energies that are around her, spirit energies that are around Nina. Nina, does that make sense to you?
It's possible. Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Yeah, there's 3 in-betweeners around her.
I'm surprised it's only 3.
But, you know, this is the beauty of not having to be right. And when I'm presenting this as I was, you know, then, Anthony, you're connecting with what's going on, and you're starting to pick up on something. That is your intuitive connection that was standing out for you. That's awesome. And I was connecting with Nina's energy, and yet if she has the energy of others around her, it's not possible for it to be absolutely clear. So I can get these confusing energies and messages, and it can be associated with what is in her energy, not true to her, but true to what she's experiencing right now.
You know, Rich,
Nina,
what you were saying about, you know, picking up on things, I am feeling a block of some sort.
Yeah, I was too.
The only block in true honesty is that and this is the only thing that really would come to my mind, is that I'm coming across a lot of new gifts, and they're becoming very strong, and I'm almost holding back to allow them to happen. I'm not fully saying, okay, let's go with it, because there's certain things that are starting to happen that I'm just at this moment not ready to let go of, and these have to do with
Nina,
my gift.
I think you just answered the question why you couldn't pick up on it. You just answered it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why I said I needed to kind of, the thing about the friends, well, I'm not a friend type of person. I have very, very, very few friends, a lot of acquaintances, and I don't let many people in my life because I feel energies and a lot of the vibrations that people have don't resonate to me. So I just kind of be like, don't want them in my life. So I don't really crave friends, because the ones that I do, I can be myself and I'm honest and we have unconditional love for each other. So, but it might be some of the energies that I might have around me that might be, maybe craving me to pay attention to them as a friend. I have no idea. I'm just thinking myself, But like I said, the thing about the letting go was probably the one that resonated to me the strongest. I am a medium intuitive, and I have a lot of these,
gifts that are new coming to me that are becoming a little bit more out of my comfort zone. So I need to kind of feel them out and come into peace with them before I can truly let go and let them go full force. So yes,
okay.
that would make sense.
Let me ask you a question.
Sure.
Are you, in your medium work, are you turning to guides and others to bring insight and clarity to you, or are you totally and completely all on your own in reference to what you're sensing and insight and clarity?
What do you mean on my own? I'm sorry, Rick, I didn't understand the question.
In other words, are you trusting your own intuitive connection, your energy connection? Like I was saying, I connect with the energy. Show me what you're about. Show me, reveal that which you are to me. Are you connecting with others to help you have clarity?
No, the clarity comes within myself.
Okay.
Yeah, in other words, I don't. I have to be on. Every situation's different with me. I do a lot of work, and if I'm in a situation where I'm, let's say, investigating, a lot of times the information will just come to me because I am a mental medium. So, and a lot of times I will channel. A lot of times I get visions. Sometimes I hear things. There's so many ways I get information that.
But Nina,
yeah.
you don't call upon spirit guides to get that information. It's just coming from within you,
no,
correct?
Right, correct.
Okay, I think that answered your question, right, Rick?
Yeah.
Yeah, but also what's standing out for me right away is she said she's channeling. And
okay, right.
The channeling energy is coming from a source that you're not absolutely able to go ahead and confirm. And this is what I'm feeling in the energy because it's remaining with you and you're not clearing it out. This is why, and as you were just saying that, it's like shows up for me real strong. You're not clearing your energy. You're not freeing yourself. It's remaining with you, and that's why I am struggling to connect with what your energy is all about, because you've got the energy of these others that have been connected to you, flowing through you, and it's muddling your energy.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking before, that the possibility may be that there may be some energy spirits around Nina that may be interfering with it, and that may be the issue, that they're sort of maybe trying to get her attention and she's blocking them out.
Yeah, or,
very possible.
When I went and saw this woman that channeled, I don't remember who it was in that, and so she went into a trance and she went into a channel, and it took her, after the communication was done, after they were done using her body, it took her 10 minutes to come out of that trance. It took her 10 minutes to come back to her body. And I stood there in front of her, and her eyes were blinking up and down, up and down, up and down like that, and she was gradually coming back. I reached out my hand and I said, I accept this energy that is still relating to release from her. It flowed to me, and she opened her eyes just like that.
But that's a physical. Yeah, I don't do that, Rick. I don't. That's a physical medium that does channels that. I don't do that type of channeling.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm still saying the source from which the channel or the energy is coming. If it's from another, this is the concern that I'm attempting to express here, is that you rely totally and completely on yourself in connection to what you're experiencing. And don't invite or be in a place where another ventures into your energy, because it will affect you. And I really believe somehow whatever the energy is you're feeling it's quite, it's just not being cleared out, and I just feel a murky energy with you.
Yeah, I kind of clear myself out pretty well, The murky energy could possibly be just, I do a lot of work with with detectives with crimes.
Okay.
And that sometimes does stick to me a little more, and I have to do certain other things that I have to do to clear it out, so it does take a little longer. So that might, and I was just on a case a couple of days ago, so that's probably what you're feeling.
Okay.
Nina, can I ask a question?
Sure.
Nina,
Yeah.
so that means that when you are working with the detectives and stuff, you're pretty much working with different, stronger, probably murky energies. So are you subconsciously blocking some of that comes in to protect yourself? Is it a form of protection?
Yeah, there's a lot of different things that I do for protection, and that's one of them. I actually put up an energy field, like a force field around me, to not allow anything to penetrate that's negative. But in the same token, I can tap into it to see, what happened in this case. How did this crime really happen?
Yeah,
so
and
you're
the energy
choosing
is
what you allow in.
I don't mostly allow something like that in.
But you're stepping into the energy of what took place in the event. So as much as you're saying, I'm not going to allow it to be into my energy, you're stepping into the energy that it is. And that can have an effect on you because it's not trying to get into your energy, but you're stepping into that which it is, and the protection doesn't work the same.
Yeah, I've been doing this for years, and I have to say I've been lucky to not have any of that energy affect me in a negative way.
Yeah.
It's not like something I started doing yesterday. I was actually born like this, so it's kind of, and my life is positive. I have wonderful things happening. I'm very happy. I have much success and love in my life, and there's really nothing negative going on in my life. Now, do I sometimes go around and, I have a negative energy that's tapping on my shoulder? Sure. I deal with it, and then I move on.
Right. Well, you're definitely, it's complicated. Your energy is very complicated. It's not a simple energy. Many people, it's much simpler than that. But, yeah, you have a very complicated energy, and it's more difficult. I almost felt like you were also that you weren't quite totally open as I was connecting. I almost felt like this energy barrier, you put it up so many times, it's almost like you're affecting what even comes to you sometimes, even in the normal everyday. So it's fairly complicated.
Yeah, it is. I'm sorry. But you know what? But Rick, the part about the letting go, that totally resonated, and I know what it had to do with, So,
All
yeah.
Right, super.
Yes.
Well, I thank you for participating. It's been quite interesting for me too.
Yeah, and thank you so much. It was great connecting with you. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you.
Great. Thank you, Nina. Take care now.
Okay. Good night, guys. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Good night.
Rick, I have a question for you that may strike a nerve with some folks, and it's a line from your bio, and it says, and I quote, "God is not the creator of the universe, but simply a role player within the dimension Earth exists." Can you further explain what you mean by that?
Well, first question I would have is which God are you talking about? I mean, realistically, the Romans had their gods. The Egyptians had their gods. You've had the sun gods. You've had earth gods. You've had golden idol gods. You've got the Islam God. You've got the Christian God. Exactly which God are you talking about? If you're assuming that there's only one, everything around you and everything that we have in our history will tell you there's never been just one God. But we have this idea in our mind because somebody wants to believe that we are praying to and connected to the one true God when you haven't the slightest idea if there's only one. I have already been aware there's been 4,362 different gods. Now, sometimes these are self-appointed gods. Sometimes they have a little bit more power. Although I will say money is a god. Because I tell you what, there are many people that will pay homage to the money god, and they will bend over backwards and give their life simply for money. And if that isn't God that you sacrifice that much for, I don't know what else you would call it. So from my standpoint, the whole idea of God is representative of a desire to believe that there is something beyond us that is very significant. Well, through these physical bodies and the way we experience energy, yeah, there's a lot that's beyond us that's very significant. But at the same time, it comes back to who we are. If we're looking for some, the thing that gets me is I hear every once in a while, well, God has blessed me with many things. Okay, well, how much did you have to do with participate in that? And then I hear, oh, God created this very difficult situation for me. There must be a reason for it. But I don't know what the reason for it is. Well, if there's truly a God that existed in a place that was interested in us, it would be a God that wouldn't try to hold back the understanding of why we're experiencing something. If we're supposed to guess, then it becomes a game. And if we go through life trying to guess what all these things are coming forward, then what are we learning? And if we're not learning, we're not evolving. If we're not evolving, we're not growing. So why would we have a desire to be challenged in all these ways when we don't even know what we're being challenged for and why?
Okay, I understand that perfectly.
Rick, what I'd like to touch on is, in the last few years or so, there's been a lot of talk about spiritual awakening, and a lot of it seems to center around December 2012. And some of the magazines, the websites, the blogs, they've talked about the Mayan calendar and the changes, possibly an apocalypse. What are your feelings on the spiritual awakening? I mean, is this truly something that we need to look forward to? Is it something that you feel that is happening, or has it already started?
No, it's already started, yes, absolutely. And actually it's happening more in the heavens and in the unseen realms than it has been here on Earth. I've been saying for years that Earth and its dysfunction is representative of the heavens and its dysfunction. They're a mirror for each other. If we really take a close look at what is taking place on Earth, we can begin to understand, and even books are written that explain that the same thing is taking place, a hierarchy. We've got more than and less than. We've got the trickle down. We've got all of these things that somehow represent a significance for us consciously. But we're not in a place in this present moment as human beings, as a large group, that the conscious awakening has really begun yet. We have those who are beginning to awaken. They're becoming more in tune with their self. They're paying more attention to their self. They're less concerned about what they own. They're less concerned about what they achieve. Friendships or relationships or how one feels about themselves. All of this is a part of the conscious awakening. For me, consciousness isn't encaptured or an evolution of consciousness as is taking place, isn't in reference to what exists outside of us. The consciousness, the higher consciousness, the highest consciousness, the essence of consciousness evolving is all about our own individual consciousness. This is where this ascension to a higher level of consciousness isn't in reference to a group with a group. It's in reference to ourself with others who are also embracing it. So it's not coming to us from outside of ourselves. It's coming to us through and within ourselves.
Okay, so this leads me to my next question. Some of the things that I've found, some of the websites that I've seen, several of them have what they call symptoms of spiritual awakening. And even in your bio, you mentioned changes that happened within yourself. And some of these things, they list like changing of sleep patterns, activity at the crown of the head, sudden waves of emotion, changes in the physical body. So these things are happening. And honestly, I can feel a lot of these things. When I was going through the list, I could feel a lot of these things that I could actually identify with. So are these physical changes, are these changes that we're feeling all part of this spiritual awakening?
The spiritual awakening is a part of all that is evolving and changing. There is a transformation of energy that's taking place. There is transitioning of energy that's taking place. There is assimilation of energy that's taking place. There is an integration of energy that is taking place. There is an evolution that has all individuals taking into account, but it has to be slow enough so that we can learn from it. In fact, I was talking to the universe today, which is something I do all the time anyway, because it's just something I do. They listen and they respond. And one of the things that I was stating to them is that many people, or many in the universe, have desired miracles. So let's get from here to there, and let's do it just as daggone quick as we can, because I'm going to like it over there better. But the scenario is that I give is if you have somebody that works very diligently to achieve something, they will go ahead and appreciate what they've achieved far more than the individual that just gets it, because they won't have anything invested in it. So this evolutionary process, this ascension, it is a growing, it is an evolving, it is a constantly changing energy, and it's changing for the individual and it's changing for the collective, but it takes into account. Now, there is a numeric equation that exists in connection to this universe that takes in and is created from variables and takes into account consciousness. It takes into account the physical human form. It takes into account the spirit energies. It takes into account all that has existed. A numeric equation that is sensitive, and it is in tune to individuals, and as we as individuals change, our numeric connection to that numeric connection, energy changes and it evolves. And we then begin to experience, as we connect to ourself, we begin to experience energy that flows to us that supports our connecting to ourself. If we choose to connect with stuff outside of ourself, and that's where our focus is, then we will be given the opportunity to be free of, and the numeric equation will wait for us to begin to connect with ourselves. So humanity right now is in, for the most part, 97% of humanity right now is really in a place where they are waiting to wake up, to experience this connection. It's slow, and it's going to continue, and it'll continue past 2012. It'll continue into 2020, because there's a growth. The evolution of the spirit realm began around the beginning of the millennium, 2000. So if we figure the last 10 years, 12 years has been in reference to the significant changes for the larger universe and the unseen realms and the heavens and all that exists out there on different levels of consciousness, let's assume then that from 2013 to, let's say, 2024, it's time for human beings to evolve and change. So we're just in the middle of it. But there is a dividing point where the old heaven and the new heaven begin, and all of this energy and all of this transitioning, all this transforming, all of this is leading us to something that is a vision associated with the numeric equation that is more complex than you can even imagine.
So is this, so in essence, are we moving towards what, to borrow a phrase from the 60s, are we moving towards nirvana?
No, we're moving towards Nawasha.
Okay. And the difference is?
Okay, Nawasha is the new heaven energy. It's Nawasha means a beautiful place. Okay? But we're moving towards the energy of Suntatra. Okay? Suntatra means elegance beyond imagination. We are moving towards the energy that is beyond imagination, beyond anything anyone has ever experienced, beyond anything that has ever been known to even be possible and to exist. It is more beautiful and more profound than you can ever imagine, because there is virtually no one that's ever experienced it. And it is the gift for embracing self that one will have the opportunity to experience this. When we move away from all of this old, make new choices, we will have the opportunity to embrace these new choices in connection to this elegance beyond imagination, that Suntatra, which the energy is that we're going to be moving towards and are moving towards very slowly, though, like a slow boat from China.
Okay.
So this, as Lucy was mentioning earlier, this ascension, this awakening, there's no connection to December 21st, 2012, or is there?
No.
No.
The ascension is a topic and an energy different from the 2012 date is in reference to other shifts in energy that are taking place. They're all part of the big picture, but the ascension isn't associated with the December 21st, 2012 date.
Because what I've heard and what I've come to understand is that the December 21st, 2012 is not the apocalypse. It's not the end of the world. That it's sort of an ascension into a higher dimension, and that we should all be within the realm of this spiritual awakening, so that we then move forward with the universe into December 22nd, 2012, basically, and we follow that pattern. That's sort of what I've read and what I've researched and come upon, and I wasn't sure if that was the case from your perspective.
Well, let me ask you right away, right now, then. Do you believe that you're really ready for that right now?
No.
Do you really
No, not at all.
know what it means?
No, not at all.
Okay, I mean, this is a pie-in-the-sky type of statement, which is great, but if all of a sudden you were to go ahead from, let's say, another 6 months, which I'd assume, for the most part, Anthony, is not going to be, there isn't going to be earth-shattering changes for you in your life that's going to be so profound that it's going to stand out, that you're going to get to December 21st and you're going to say, whoa, I am ready for this ascension. Because for the most part, it's going very slowly. So, yes, we are shifting and changing. The ascension is towards moving towards what is possible. But for that to simply happen, you get there, you wouldn't know what to do with it. You wouldn't even know how to be in it. And if you're not a part of it, how could you ever truly appreciate it if it's simply just given to you because you were told it was going to happen?
We did a show not too long ago on, actually it was our first show that we did on black-eyed children, and it was sort of a two-parter. Lucy, if you remember this, we did, the first part of the show was on black-eyed children, and then the second part we talked about, what was it, the crystal children, right?
Indigo children, crystal.
Indigo children, right. And so what we've learned was that sort of these indigo children are here to give us or sort of guide us in that guide us in that change and that awakening so that we can ascend. And from what we've read and what we've learned was that they were here to help guide us into this quote-unquote ascension into the next dimension that will be happening after December 21st. And for those who were not able to sort of quote-unquote get on board, that it will just take us even longer to get to that level. And so they were here for the last 10 years to try and push it along for us or help us guide us a little bit quicker so that we would be ready for it. I guess this is just mind-boggling to me, and I'm in such awe of all of your knowledge, Rick, that it's just sort of confusing to me to try and wrap my head around, what could be and what I'm hearing about what December 21st is and the whole ascension and spiritual awakening. I'm sort of lost in it. But on that same page, I do understand spiritual awakening, and I feel as though that I am on that path, sort of. But I know that I'm definitely not ready for any change to happen. But I just thought that there was some sort of connection between the two. Maybe an ounce or a 2% portion of it would be. But from what I'm understanding from you, that there really isn't sort of a connection to it at all.
For me, the ascension is all about self, being in tune to ourself. understanding ourselves, exploring ourselves, discovering ourselves. As we become more in tune with ourselves, we begin to ascend into a place of greater clarity, greater connectedness to that which is and that which can be. We experience more insight. We become more in tune. We become more accepting. We become less agitated. All these things that have been affecting on this physical plane, these things are all changing, and as they do, as a consciousness, yes, there is an ascension, but the ascension isn't about a place, or it isn't about a level that we'll just jump to. It's about an evolution of growth, realization, and a deeper understanding of ourself. This is what the ascension for me is all about. It's about self. Because the false self, the one that it needs to accomplish, the one that needs to be put on top of a pedestal, the one that needs to stand out as being significant and important, the false self, the one that is depleted, the one that doesn't feel good about itself, the one that has to be more than, the one that will control another in order to bring them down to. All of that has been taking place on this physical world, from my perspective, for the most part, as we've been experiencing the false self energy. Well, it's now time to begin to experience the true energy of self, the true self energy, and this is a part of the ascension out of the old into the new. And if you don't even know who you are, how are you ever going to exist on a higher level of consciousness? You'll be lost in it because you're not even connected to yourself. You're just in a place that's brought you to seem to be confused. Consciousness, as it evolves, has to bring us along gradually, otherwise we'll never be able to make the jump.
That makes perfect sense to me. It really does. It really does. So many things that you've said, that you've touched on, I understand, but I also know that I'm not ready yet, but I want to get there. There's an excitement.
Right.
There's an excitement about it.
Well, Rick, what piece of advice could you give Lucy and I and our listeners listening right now? What advice could you give us to, I guess, help, and forgive me for phrasing this incorrectly, but to help us tap into ourselves, to be able to, I guess, what's the baby step that we can take right now that will lead us on the path to sort of where you are at right now? What's the first thing that you can sort of give us advice on how can we get into our own inner self realm, or tap into that energy to get into the place where you are at now?
Okay, well, the first thing, when you started asking me the question and pulling it all together, I immediately recognized it. Pull out the angel cards. There's one card in there, and the card that I pulled out is harmony. If we can create harmony within ourselves, and we can bring a balance to ourselves, and be in tune with ourselves, in that harmony, we will begin to emanate that energy of harmony, and it will flow to others that are around us. So, first, we'll never be able to experience harmony in the larger earth world that we're in until we begin to experience a harmony within ourselves. And one of the statements I make is that in this process, to honor and value ourselves and honor and value every other. Now, this is something that doesn't take, human beings right now don't do a very good job of. They're absolutely horrific at it. We don't value ourselves because we're told that we're not good enough. We don't honor ourselves, so we go ahead and we do all the things that somebody else tells us is important, and we overeat, and then we go ahead and we try to accomplish all these things, and we're not honoring ourselves. We're not honoring our body. We're human doings. We're not human beings. We're so caught up in the doing world. That's not honoring who we are. We're not our accomplishments. We're not our experiences. We are the essence of self experiencing the experience of these experiences that we're experiencing here on this earth. I'll say it again. We are the essence of self experiencing the experiences of these experiences here in the human experience. And so a lot of it has been very demeaning, very disruptive. It has been challenging. It has been discouraging. It creates disharmony. We fight between each other. We discard each other. We ignore each other. We don't value ourselves. And so it's about bringing the harmony of honor and value yourself, and then begin to honor and value others. Let them be who they are, and don't judge them, because when we judge them, we're judging ourselves. So when we can accept them, we can accept ourselves more easily, because we oftentimes will judge from the perspective that we hold in reference to what we've been taught in our life. Move away from all of that. Become unconditional accepting. Many will say, well, unconditional love is the strongest energy of any energy that there is. I totally disagree. The most powerful energy that exists is unconditional acceptance, because unconditional love doesn't always accept the choices that they are making. Oh, I love you unconditionally, but I was hurt by the choice you made, or I was uncomfortable with what you said. Well, unconditional acceptance says, I can accept everything, and I'm not going to take it personally, because I know that what you just said wasn't about me, it was about you. That's why you said it. That you direct your energy that's uncomfortable and not in harmony at me, so that you can get rid of it and dump it on me. And then that shares the disharmony, so why don't we let flow from us, not the disharmony, but the harmony associated with the balance and connection to ourselves as we grow and evolve into a greater place of balance. Then we share it with those who are around us. So harmony. Bring the harmony. Create the harmony. Be the harmony. And everything else will begin to fall into place. Value yourself and honor yourself.
Rick, that is such a wonderful, wonderful statement. And actually, what we'd like to do now is end on that note, because I think that is such a beautiful statement. I do want to thank you for sharing all of your insights and your wisdom with us. I mean, this has been absolutely mind-boggling to me. Anthony, I'm sure you feel the same way.
I do, and I think, our listeners are probably going to crave more of Rick. And Rick, where can our listeners reach out to you? Do you have a Facebook page? Do you have a website or somewhere where they can get in contact with you to sort of learn more, maybe connect with you and possibly do readings or learn more from you?
Fine, but I'm going to step out beyond that, and I'm going to say that in your normal life, in your normal everyday, just say, Rick Schuster, I invite you to be in your energy, in your unconditional acceptance. As you have reached out to me, as I see you as a friend, I welcome you to reach out and connect with me. My energy can go anywhere. Just as I was connecting with the energy to read it or let it show me where it was at, invite my energy in this balanced place that I know it exists to be with you, and it'll be there with you if you believe it will. So there's not just the physical contact, but the energy connection that you can invite. I even have people say, and if they're struggling with something, their neck and that stuff, pain, I'll invite different people I'm connecting with to invite my energy hands to touch and hold their body where they're uncomfortable and aching. And many of them, very intuitive and connected, will feel my energy hands be there. So let's break the walls of the box that says none of this is possible and try it, and you might become a believer.
Wonderful.
Rick, I just want to add one more thing. I'm sorry, Lucy. I just wanted to add one more thing. I don't think you were aware of this, but when we had you on our show, when Lucy and I were in Philly the night before we investigated at Eastern State Penitentiary, you had mentioned to us, and I had talked to you about not being able to or not wanting to let my guard down when doing investigations for the fear of possession or having spirits coming within me. And you gave great advice about saying, just saying out loud or communicating out loud that I am aware. Lucy, what was the phrase again?
I choose to be aware of the energy that is around me.
Correct. And I'm telling you, Rick, Lucy and I were saying that pretty much almost the entire night. And it was a very different investigation for us. Very different to the fact that we actually became less communicative with each other and with the spirits. And it sort of made us, I don't even know how to describe it, sort of more aware and more open in our minds to be able to accept whoever was around us. And we were able to capture a lot of EVPs and recordings and some things that were going on that we've never experienced before. So I just wanted to say thank you for giving us that advice, because it really did help us with our investigation at Eastern State Penn. But I wasn't sure if you were aware that we actually did follow through and take that advice from you.
No, I wasn't aware. But what it shows you, and it's a great example, is awareness is more powerful than knowing and thinking and wondering and everything else. Awareness is the essence of that which is what I am working with. I have an awareness. I'm not coming up with this stuff. But at the same time, I would just like to say to all the listeners, I'm not telling you this that I've shared today to convince you. I don't care whether you believe it or don't believe it. I share it because I'm aware of it. And whether you believe it or not, it's going to resonate with you, or it's not going to resonate with you, or you're going to embrace it or you're not going to embrace it, but it's all about you. It's not about me. I just presented it, and I plant the seed, and in a future moment it can grow and grow stronger. So it's just an opportunity for new ideas and new thoughts, but I'm not asking anyone to believe anything that I've presented tonight. But then never believe anything else that anybody else presents either then, okay? Because where are we coming up with this information? And so it's from awareness, and so I better let you guys end your show then.
Right.
Rick, thank
you
so much.
Thank you, Rick, so much. It was an amazing night, and thank you for coming on and spending 2 hours with us. I think all our listeners enjoyed it. I mean, the chat room was a buzz. From what I can see and read, and it was truly an honor and a pleasure to have you on with us. But we're definitely going to have you on again, because funny enough, as we were doing the show, and Lucy, I'm going to reveal this, Carmen Reed emailed us, and apparently there was a mishap with her phone, and she left it in another state, so was not able to receive our messages. So she wanted to make sure that we rescheduled her. So when we do, Rick, we'd love to have you come on again with us and tap into that energy and see what we can come up with and what you can tell us and inform us about. So until then, we thank you so much, Rick, and it was great talking to you tonight.
Well, thank you for the invitation, and I loved it and enjoyed it. I'd love to be on again, either on that show or even potentially again on another show if the interest is there for people. I love it, I enjoy it, and thank you for the opportunity.
Great.
Thank you, Rick.
We only tapped into about 5% of what you want to discuss or the knowledge within you, and so there's so much more to discuss and talk about. So we're definitely going to have you on again. So thank you again, Rick, and we'll talk to you soon, okay?
All right. Bye.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Take care, Rick. Bye-bye.
Wow.
We always say that, wow, after every conversation we have, but this one was really a wow. I mean, there's
really
some things
wow.
that he was saying that I just couldn't wrap my head around, and I still don't, and so I'll probably be listening to the show over and over again in archives. But that was great. I thought it was really interesting to discuss spiritual awakening. We've never done a show like that before, so thank you, Lucy, for actually bringing Rick and bringing the topic for tonight's show.
Well, you know what's really funny about it? Rick is the one that actually reached out to me, and it was just so unusual that it was like an immediate connection. And when I got the chance to talk to him, it was just amazing. So that's why I brought it to the table, and I'm very glad that I did. I'm really glad that I did.
right, so why don't you let everybody know who the fan of the week is?
Okay. Our Paranormal Review Radio fan of the week is Frank Scalzo. Frank posts regularly on our Paranormal Review Radio Facebook page, and we want to thank you for your support and for being a fan and for participating. Thank you, Frank. Yay!
And you know what's so funny? That Frank's Facebook page, it's so mysterious. There's like really no information about him, you know, his location or anything like that. And I kind of like that. I kind of like having a mystery fan of the week.
Well, I guess that's it. That's our show for this Friday. What an amazing week, and what an incredible impact Rick made on the world of the paranormal tonight. I mean, it was just simply amazing. Anthony, I want to thank you again for everything you do to make the show so amazing. Thank you, Rick Schuster, for sharing some of the powerful information that you had with all of us. I want to thank you, everyone, for listening. You know, we really do appreciate your support so much. And if you enjoyed this show, please spread the word, okay? Now, next week's show, let's talk about that. This is one that I really cannot wait for. I mean, I was excited about tonight, but I'm also excited about next week's show. We're going to be talking to someone who I respect and I admire greatly. We'll be talking to Bishop James Long. Now, the bishop will be sharing his thoughts on the demonic infestation, oppression, possession, and his role as a clergyman in the paranormal. So make sure you mark your calendars, and if you have any questions for the bishop, please be sure you call the show that night. You don't want to miss this show. So, on that note, everyone, have a paranormal week. Good night.
Good night.
Paranormal